Alright, here we are on another nice hot Texas day here on the property. I've been working on the little Kubota engine again. Cleaned it up. I took it into town. Had to get a new air filter for it. It was freaking dirty. Looked like it was the original filter. Whoever had this before didn't really take very good care of it, I don't think. So I got a new air filter for it. It was only like $10. It was cheap. Just a little paper air filter. And while I was up there, I had to get some oil for my truck. I got to change the oil on my truck. So I got an oil and filter, and I stopped and got a can of engine degreaser. Some Super Tech. Stuff that comes in a can right there. It's just engine degreaser is what it's called. And that one's actually foaming. It was like $2 for a can of that stuff, and that one actually foams up. If you notice in my other videos, you can see that it's at the inside of there, it was real dirty, real nasty, full of grime and stuff. I just sprayed that stuff on there in the Walmart parking lot, let it sit, towed it to the car wash, put $1 in the car wash, and I used that green engine and wheel cleaner, sprayed it on there, and I mean, by the time I got that stuff on there, that low pressure engine cleaner was already knocking that stuff off. And then I just hit it with the high pressure soap, knocked the rest of it off, and then high pressure rinse. Rinsed out the radiator too. The radiator was kind of full of crud. It flows a lot better now, I've noticed. As for the leak on the radiator, had to JV weld it again last night. There's a little leak, but I got it for the most part. The only thing that's left is one little leak, which is right there. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little pinhole leak. Other than that, it seems to be holding up just fine. If you kind of see it squirting out right there. Yeah, just a little leak. It's actually in the JV weld, so I can sand it and put it on top of it. It should be fine. Oil pressure on this thing's pretty good, about 55 pounds all the time. That gauge is kind of messed up. It kind of sticks. If you tap it with something, it'll go back down. But it looks a lot cleaner in here now. I like it. It's much easier to work in it now. But try to find a thermostat. That water neck doesn't have a thermostat in it. I thought it's supposed to have a thermostat. I could be wrong. If somebody knows better, please correct me. But as far as I know, it should have a thermostat to maintain engine temperature. So, but like I said, I could be wrong, because that fan does drive all the time. It doesn't have a clutch on it. So I would think that to regulate temperature, you need a thermostat. But I changed the engine speed. It was at 1800 RPM for the last generator head that was on it, but the one I have is rated at 3600 RPM, so I'm going to belt drive it 1:3 ratio, run this at about 1200 RPM, this engine, and then belt drive it up to 3600 RPM on the head. And I'm going to see how that runs, because I mean, it's a 22 horsepower engine, more or less, and the generator head only requires a 7 horsepower engine. And I think even at idle speed, this thing puts out 8 horsepower. So I think it should be plenty. But we'll see. Only test will see. Only test will tell. That's really all I did. I adjusted the valves. I don't know if I said that in the last video, but I pulled the valve cover off, adjusted the valves. They weren't bad. They were out of spec, but they weren't too bad. So I got all that in spec, and it seems to start up good now, and continues to run good. It sounds like it runs smoother. Sounds a lot more like a diesel. You can hear that knocking sound a little bit. Not knocking, but just the sound that diesels make. What else? I got to redo those battery connections, those terminals there. This positive smokes when I crank it. I noticed that there's not a very good crimp on there, so I'm going to see about soldering it or just putting it on there better. Doesn't look like those are the original terminals. It probably had a top post terminals, and somebody just had a battery laying around and put those on. So that should be about it. I put some fuel system cleaner in it, see if I can clean out the injectors a little bit, just kind of maintenance. Some power service diesel clean, that's the good stuff. Well, it's not the best. I mean, I'm sure it's not the best, but that's what I prefer. Seems to work pretty well, and it's cheap, so you can see it runs pretty good. It's already hot now, but I mean, it starts up great.
like I said, the radiator flows there a lot better now. It must have been choked over a lot of dust. I just put that high pressure water from that car wash, and I sprayed it in there, back and forth, real evenly. Just sprayed all that crap out of it. Looks like it cleaned off the fan for the most part too. The fan was all black with junk on it. But other than that, I think that's really it. I mean, the engine's already in tip-top shape as it is. I mean, it runs great. You know, 65 pounds of oil pressure. That's pretty good. I had to redo this wiring here. This is going to the fuel pump. Some jackass did it wrong, and I had to run it up here, and he had all kinds of rigged up, and it this box fell on top of the smoke and shorted out. So I had to reroute these. So this positive lead here got smoked, and this ammeter lead here got smoked as well. So I had to reroute those, turn them on, and then this is just an extra wire I had from the towing harness, but it's 22 gauge, so I put 2 on there to kind of make it a little better conductor to that fuel pump. And I gotta kind of tie this off somewhere, but for now it's just kind of going up there and into there, and it goes to the key switch. So. It's definitely running a little better than what I got it.
It's definitely a strong engine, that's for sure. I mean, I run it, you know, keep it going. Flushed out the radiator. You can see there's coolant in there now. I need to get a lid for this overflow tank. Probably need to replace that tank because it's got a hole right there. See how much one of those is. Shouldn't be too much. Probably more than $8 or $10, I wouldn't think. But that's about it. I mean, really the only thing I need to do, like I said, is just redo those battery terminals, put a thermostat in it, and JV weld that little pinhole leak that's, I guess I didn't get it thick enough right there. But once that's done, I will let you all know how it goes, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching.